I'm Diane Trant. I currently work as a project manager at Grassroots Solutions, and we are a consulting firm based here in Minneapolis, but we work nationally. So we have offices in Minneapolis, in Washington, D.C., New York, and then in Maine. And our work is really around mobilizing and engaging people, trying to help people who have an initiative or cause or want to create something in the world, find the people that are interested in doing that with them, and creating, through a variety of grassroots tactics and strategies, methods by which those people can learn about what the initiative is, find ways to participate, and then increase and grow in their leadership development and engagement throughout time. So our clients range from corporations to unions, electoral campaigns, legislative efforts, foundations, etc., which just means that we're always learning. We're always applying this solid base of grassroots organizing skills and tactics and ideas, but finding new ways, again, to apply them, which makes it a lot of fun. So I really enjoy the opportunity to constantly be learning, meeting new people, and again, improving the ways in which we can mobilize and engage people. I arrived at Grassroots Solutions about 3.5 years ago or so, and I come from a lot of background in community organizing. This is something that started when I was very young, actually, when I look back on it. I grew up in a cul-de-sac in the southern suburbs of the Twin Cities, and so loved the opportunity to engage with my neighbors and other classmates, and would organize, baseball games and other sort of prom events, a little fake radio station. Was always looking for ways to create and have fun, but found myself doing it with others, organizing hide-and-go-seek tag, etc. And so, that coupled with the fact that when I was growing up, my parents tell me that they would always have to wait outside for me after I would go to a McDonald's or other little kids' play place, because I would be so certain that I had to go say goodbye to a new friend that I'd made. I didn't want to leave them without, bidding them farewell. So from an early age, you might say there were some community organizing and relationship building tendencies that I harbored. I found ways to express that desire and those interests through typical programs, through student council and yearbook during my middle school years, and then continuing to do National Honor Society and other team and sports events as well. But I think I was very fortunate to grow up in Minnesota, especially during a time when there was a lot of investment in young people. So there was an effort at my local public health department, the Dakota County Public Health Department, where they engaged high school students from across the county in planning each year. So during high school, I had the opportunity to be involved with a variety of community efforts, actually. Some of them spearheaded through my involvement with my high school student council. I attended a one-day conference hosted by the Dakota County Public Health Department's Youth Planning Committee. This was a group of students they engaged from across the county each year, and invited these students to help plan a one-day event focused on issues affecting teens, ranging from youth risk behaviors to building healthy assets and developing teens, and a variety of other topics that were of interest to young people. And I started to attend these meetings and found another outlet to meet young people, hear what issues mattered to them, and also to begin practicing a certain set of public engagement skills, attending meetings, helping to develop agendas, stepping up into board leadership myself eventually, and really enjoyed the opportunity in particular to learn about public health in Minnesota, which I think has a tendency towards social justice and toward a focus on making sure that health is a human right for folks in Minnesota. I learned a lot from that, but it also was a jumping off point for me to engage with a variety of other youth-led initiatives in the state of Minnesota. One of them in particular was called Target Market, and Target Market was an initiative that was funded out of the endowment or dollars that were created by the tobacco settlement in Minnesota. And that was really a revolutionary and exciting time, an opportunity for young people across Minnesota to be involved with. I was fortunate to attend the first event, the Kick Ash Bash, And shortly thereafter participated in the creation of a commercial, and then was able to participate and be featured in a couple of other commercials along the way. So there was that marketing and media side that I got to learn about from this counter marketing effort. As young people in Minnesota, we wanted to take on big tobacco and say, we know what it is that you're doing. You're targeting young people because you have 1,200 smokers that die every single day. You're interested in our affinity because that helps you to meet your bottom line. And because we know that, we're not interested in standing for it. It was a really smart message developed to allow young people an alternative, that if they didn't want to smoke Marlboro or Camel, that they could actually choose this other brand, Target Market, which allowed them to rebel against, big tobacco rather than public health nurses or their parents. Because it was really savvy, it just afforded us as young people really great opportunities to learn. So again, I got to be in commercials. I got to serve on a committee that helped to pick one of our advertising agencies. I got to travel to other states and train other youth and adults working in different efforts similar to what was happening in Minnesota. Got to be a youth spokesperson, trained to participate in media interviews, and I got to travel the state, meeting other young people who cared about these issues, who were already taking action in their communities. So in so many ways, it allowed me to learn about what it was that I was interested in, ranging from public health to, again, public engagement and leadership. But more than anything, I think it helped set me on a path toward understanding the value of youth input and youth leadership. I continued down the public health train of work by staying involved with tobacco control efforts, continuing to work in youth education off of a number of different grants through the Minnesota Department of Health. Through college, when I went to the College of St. Scholastica in Duluth, I was able to then become involved with a couple of international student advocacy campaigns, the Student Campaign for Child Survival and the Student Global AIDS Campaign. These were both housed out of Global Justice, which was an NGO at the time in Washington, D.C., but we had chapters all across the country that were focused on being a student lobby, essentially, for issues that were just starting through some of our work and work in coalition with other organizations to really gain traction at the national level. So we worked and advocated around issues of international AIDS and funding for the Global Fund for AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. We learned about child survival and maternal health and advocated, again, for dollars there to support those initiatives, knowing that at the time, 26,000 children died every single day around the world from treatable and preventable diseases. So again, getting to work on these campaigns and causes, learning about the federal legislative system, learning how to advocate for ourselves and to develop chapters and engage young people on our campuses in fundraising, in traveling to conferences and organizing lobby days, etc., were a lot of how I learned to be able to not just engage in the public, but help to bring others into the fold and allow them opportunities to develop as leaders as well, all an effort toward this larger cause that we had. I continued to seek as many opportunities as possible, working with groups interested in developing healthy assets, to working on youth leadership, to working on issues of health and other risk behaviors.